So getting to the warehouse now, I wanted to sit down and do something, but when I take a look at what's going on, it's just not possible. I just need to quickly try to clean something. There are cartons lying on the ground. There are water bottles. I don't know what that is. There are broken laptops here. There's a lot of garbage right there. Everything is just in a state of disarray. There are cables all around. My monitor is under the table, and these cables need to be cleaned up. Everything needs to be cleaned up. I know what happened here because last week was pretty much very busy. Today is Monday, and yes, it is what it is. I just have to quickly take out some stuff. These computers are still here. I need to clean them up. See, there's just a lot to do here right now. I really need to get this place back to the way it is. Otherwise, it's just going to keep getting dirty, and a time will come I won't be able to even come in. Look at this. This needs to be picked up, and just dispose of that. And then hopefully these cables, these monitors, all this stuff on my tables, they're going to be taken out and sanity should return back, to this warehouse. A long time ago, I used to beat myself so hard when, the warehouse was very dirty. I used to be telling myself, no, this shouldn't be. But then later I realized that if your workplace is very chaotic, like you see all this around, it shows that you're actually busy. If your workplace is always very clean, yes, I'm not talking about you just cleaning it up after you finish for the day, but then if your workplace has this character of sometimes, it being a little bit dirty, that actually means that you are busy. It's a good thing, but that doesn't mean that we should always leave it, to be very dirty. The PC that's sold, in between me cleaning the warehouse, I will just go ahead and prepare it and possibly take it to the post office. Then in this way, I know that I'm already free for today to do everything I need to do thereafter. All right, guys, contrary to what I thought, it took me about 40 minutes to actually clean the warehouse. I didn't do this super clean I would have loved to do because, of course, I do not have a lot of time to really go into details, but the major things that are likely to cause any form of accident have been taken away. My sellotape is already prepared. My parking area is all cleaned up, and my packing materials, everything is set. So when an order comes in now, it's very easy for me to actually, react to it and make sure that things are sent out very easily. Look, a long time ago, I was just starting my YouTube journey. I did make a video, about how important it is to actually keep your work area very safe. See, yes, I understand that if you are actually running against time, which is what happens to everybody, if you are in the grinding stage of your business, you are going to constantly be running against time. You're not going to have time to do anything. Before you do something, it's already evening and you want to go home. Something's already waiting for you. As soon as you get home, there's already going to be something in between. You're constantly going to be running against time. And this is real because I have experienced it myself. And then before you know what's going on, your work area begins to pile up. Things going to be littered all around. Things that can actually cause accidents. There's going to be cables on the ground. There's going to be sharp objects, screwdrivers on the ground. I did make a video a very long time ago. I can't remember, perhaps 1 or 2 years ago, just telling you that no matter what you do, no matter how important what you have to do is, always, pay very close attention to safety, because at the end of the day, if you are injured in the course of doing this work, you won't be able to grind any further. You won't be able to flip PCs for profit. You won't be able to even do the things you're supposed to do. And just one simple injury can actually go ahead to mess you up big time. So no matter how difficult it is, no matter how challenging it is in terms of time, please pay attention to everything that can actually cause injury in your work area. You could be working in your warehouse, you could be working in your bedroom, you could be working in your garage, you could be working in your living room. Anything that remotely appears to be able to cause an accident, always make sure you take a break, to take it out of the way. It could be just a cable lying on the ground. I have right here my my filming light, and there's a long cable that goes from the light to the socket. And sometimes when I'm walking through this cable, I'm always very careful, because if my feet is to go under this cable while I'm walking on full speed, I'm going to drag this cable and the light is going to fall down on me. The camera is going to fall down, and if I'm not careful, my laptop could be destroyed. Things are just going to go wrong when I'm in a hurry. Sometimes the warehouse is so chaotic. I have to ship out items, and while doing all this, a lot of things that potentially cannot cause accidents can just now become a little danger. You could have your screwdriver on the ground and it's not well placed. You are coming along and you step on it, it could pierce through your shoe, and then you get hurt. Guys, I can go on and on and on when it comes to safety. Safety is also part of what you have to put into consideration when you are doing this business. Doesn't matter what, sometimes you might have to wear your hand gloves if you have to, pack a lot of computers. Perhaps you just received new inventories and you want to, pack them out of the truck and pack them into your warehouse or your work area. Try to see how it's possible for you to get hand gloves to move these things. When there are things on the ground, bubble wraps, remains of cartons, anything that can remotely cause accident, make sure that these things are always well taken care of, because sometimes accidents could be very, very costly. I'm so proud of myself. I've done what I have to do. Now it's time to go onto the computer, see exactly what is actually going on in the marketplace. For some time now, I hear people complaining that, look, sales have not been going through, and for me, I didn't actually experience this. As a matter of fact, last week was very, very productive. I did make a lot of videos showing you how productive last week was, but it is what it is. Sometimes you might be having a feed day while somebody else might be experiencing very, very low sales. I'm not so convenient working on my laptop like this. Even though this laptop is a touch screen, I still have to get my mouse so that I can actually be a little bit faster while I'm just clicking around. So give me 1 minute to grab my mouse. So I'm going to take a look at what's going on, because a lot of you do not know that eBay as a platform does give us the possibility to see what is trending, what people are selling, what is actually selling at a glance. If you go into your cockpit, you actually have the possibility to use Therapy here, and I'm just going to go there and see exactly what is going on. So something I like to do, I just like to search by category. So I'm just going to give desktop PC. In that way, I can actually see the category desktop PC all in one. I'm just going to click on it and go on to 7 days. Just go there and then click on the research tool. Then in this way, I'm able to take a look at how the market has been faring in the last 7 days, because 7 days, I really do think is a long enough period to just get a slight impression of what exactly is going on. So I'm right now in the desktop category, but the thing is, it shows me all categories. Yes, sometimes I don't want to really filter deeper, so I can actually have a feeling of what the market is looking like. Look, a power bank is actually, in the last 7 days, somebody has sold about 135 pieces of this particular power bank. I'm not going to click on it because this is not something I'm actually interested in. I'm seeing that the Apple product, the Apple Mac, is actually selling 106 pieces. It's sold in the last 7 days. That's quite a lot. And right here, I see that an Acer Veriton is actually selling. So normally, I'm just going to take a look. I do not have this kind of computer, but then if I see that somebody has actually sold 45 pieces of this computer in the last 7 days, that gives me a very good impression that things are actually working. One thing I can actually do, I can actually go ahead and sort here to see, you can sort with the highest sold items. So now the power bank is the highest sold item in the last 7 days. We have about 135 pieces sold, giving us a total sales figure of about 1,181 euros. But then, like I said, I'm not particularly interested in something like this, even though it's something to just, be aware of. Sometimes you could be selling in a particular category. Like, for example, I sell in the desktop, PC category, laptop and monitors and all that stuff. But if I see this kind of stuff, I tend to want to take a look. Okay, it's possible I go out thrifting, visit my supplier, and I see that they also have power bank like this. So this kind of information gives me an idea what to watch out for whenever I go out. So this Acer Veriton tiny PC is actually killing it right now. 45 pieces sold in the last 7 days. And if I go down, I see that this Fujitsu PC right here is a tiny PC, is also killing it right now. See, when nobody is selling in the last 7 days, perhaps you are seeing that people are selling like 2 pieces, 3 pieces, then you can actually tell yourself that, look, there's actually something about the market right now. But from what I can see here, if you take a look, 2,366 people actually did sell something in the last 7 days. And this Acer Veriton kind of looks very interesting. I'm still going to dig deeper to see if there's any way for me to actually be part of this item that is selling right now. But then if I go further, like I said, this Fujitsu Esprimo is killing it. A Lenovo ThinkCentre M720Q is actually killing it. I do have the possibility to get this PC, but right now I wouldn't know why. Now it even tells me that the item is no longer available to be sold. This might be the best time for me to actually go and see how I can actually source this item. So what happened here was that this buyer actually did bring this item to the market, and everything pretty much sold very, very fast. Sold about 119 pieces. that is a lot, of PCs for one person to have sold. But in the last 7 days, sold 34 pieces of this PC, bringing the sales amount to about 2,445, euros. Yes, this is just an impression of how the market is doing, and this kind of data goes a long way to kind of motivate you to want to go out and see what you can actually buy, see what you can bring back, and see how you can list items on the platform. The beautiful thing is that when you see items selling like this, when you go out sourcing, you want to always see how you can actually replicate the items that have sold here. Because if I see that an Acer tiny PC is selling, it makes a lot of sense for me to just go out and look for how I can get this Acer PC and actually bring them, create the listing that have been proven to sell, with the hopes that the market will also say, okay, you have brought the same product. Last week we sold 45 pieces of it. Perhaps if your item is good enough, you can equally be able to pull that off. This is just for me. I tend to want to check this every now and then. Hopefully when I drive out later, I will be able to see if I can lay my hands on something like this. Sometimes you also see items here that have sold. It's just not possible for you to lay your hands on this stuff because people get items from different sources. Of course, some of these items might just be a home run for whoever had bought it. And in this case, there's nothing you do. You might go out, look for it, call all your suppliers if you want. They are going to tell you that we don't have this item and there's just nothing you can do about it. So in the category in which I sell, I am confident since the last 7 days has been very, very decent. I want to imagine that this week, today being Monday, the 14th day of April, is also going to be a very, very productive week, which is new items are going to be introduced into the secondary market and the transactions are just going to keep, going. So I have to be part of this. So if you're still sitting down there, you are still not sure, if you want to go ahead and start flipping pieces for profit, I want to tell you, look, the market right now is not sick. Things are happening. Computers are available only if you go out to source for them. And if you can get them, this platform here is going to guarantee you sales. But then before you can go out and pull this off, you have to be seasoned, is what I constantly say on this channel. Yes, it's very easy for anyone to go out and buy computers and try to sell them. But if you are not seasoned, there is going to be the possibility that you're going to lose some money. Of course, if you keep doing it over and over and over and again, you're going to refine your processes and then you might just kind of figure it out. But then if you are saying, I do not want to spend a lot of time going out to try to figure out things, Hardwareflipper, please take me by the hands and lay on me all I need to set out, flipping pieces, then go to the link in the description below, click on it, and let's get the conversation going. These are SSDs. I've always wanted to list them. I've got here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces of these decent SSDs, and this is an SSD that tends to sell very fast. I've always wanted to list them, never was able to come to it, but this time around I'm just going to go ahead and quickly do it. The beautiful thing is that I still do have the last one I sold right here, even though it's already deleted from my shop, but I can actually go ahead and just release this particular one right here. So I'm just going to change a few things just to be sure that it's the same, product number. They are all the same model numbers, the same capacity. It makes things, kind of easy. This is something I can easily just knock off right here. This is PMB871D, just to be sure that it's the same, but it actually doesn't matter because whoever is getting this SSD already knows that this is a very good product. It's Samsung. It's a 128 gigabyte SSD and it's actually going for cheap. This is the strongest selling point. When the prices are cheap, somebody's definitely going to come around and buy them. It doesn't matter what kind of photographs you are using, but of course I do have a decent photograph right there. I'm just going to use it, even though I'm not so sure if it's the same model number that I have here, MZ7NN. Let's see. Yes, it's the same, which makes things kind of interesting. So I'm just going to go ahead, release it, and then we are actually ready to post that. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead, edit the quantity from 17. Last time I sold these SSDs, I did have 17 pieces. I'm just going to change that to 7 pieces, and then price, I'm going to leave it at that, and then I'm just going to go ahead, boom, list them and know that that is already gone. This is the beauty of eBay. It doesn't matter if the last time you sold this item was like 2 months ago. You can actually go to your sold listings, take this particular item, click on it, and release it again. So in this way, you do not have to go back and create a totally new listing, and this is one way you can actually save time. I'm just going to check that is actually there, right there, looking at me. This is the listing, and hopefully it begins to sell, and it sells pretty fast. But this transaction is already appearing to me like one of the best transactions for the week. You see, for somebody to go to your shop and pay you 422 euros for a desktop PC, the person didn't ask you any questions, and the person just went ahead, paid for the PC, but the hope of the buyer is that you are going to send out a very decent PC, a PC that has very little signs of use, a PC that is highly functional. This is the hope of the buyer. It's kind of interesting, and it really kind of makes me kind of excited to know that, look, the online business model is very, very, cost effective. If I had a brick and mortar shop and I wanted somebody to actually go ahead and pay me 422 euros, first of all, I have to have somebody on ground, like a worker that's going to be, on ground to receive the potential customers when they come. So that will mean that when somebody walks into the shop, the worker, the staff, whatever you want to call him or her, is going to walk up to the person and greet them and ask them, do you possibly have questions? What do you want to buy? Can I be of help to you? Can I be of service to you? Possibly the potential buyer is going to start by making a lot of stories. Yes, I want a decent computer that can allow me to do a lot of work. This is the kind of work I do. I'm looking for a decent PC. And the worker is going to go ahead and reel off, all the marketing stuff. This is a very beautiful PC. It has a very good processor. You can actually go ahead and upgrade it if you want. You understand the point. You see, this worker is going to do all this. At the end of the day, the customer is going to decide whether to buy or not. Sometimes the customer doesn't buy it, which will mean that the time of the worker has been wasted. All the time he or she spent explaining and trying to convince the buyer to buy has been wasted. And this happens not once, not twice. At the end of the month, you still have to go ahead and pay the worker for his or her service. All right. But with this online business model, I was sleeping on Saturday when this transaction came in. The buyer didn't ask any question. He went ahead, took a look at the decent offer, and then read it through, went to my description, read through, and was certain that this is exactly the kind of PC that he wanted to buy. So possibly went online, did some research, and saw it and said, okay, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and pay for this PC. And then he goes ahead, click on the buy it now button. Boom, the transaction is consummated. The customer didn't ask any questions. You didn't have to have a worker on the cash app point to receive the payment. eBay does this transaction for you. Everything goes seamless, and you wake up in the morning, I take a look at your notification and say to yourself, an item has been sold for 422 euros. See, this is interesting. This, ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, is the future. See, if you can set up a business that can actually run on autopilot using these platforms like eBay, Amazon, whatnot, whatever platform that is best for you, you can actually, reduce your operational cost, make a lot of money in the process. Of course, there's a learning curve to all this. There's a layer to this. But if you can pay the price, you go through all the learning curve and get hold of this thing, you are going to have a business that's able to stand firm even when things are going upside down right now in the world, when cost is skyrocketing, when it's becoming very difficult to get a responsible, worker, when the cost of even paying for your warehouse, your rent is skyrocketing, you can actually have an airtight business that you can actually run from the comfort of your bedroom. And this is mind-blowing. This customer didn't ask me any questions, but it didn't stop me from actually using some of the best accessories out there. I got a very decent offer on a 32GB DDR4 RAM, which I didn't hesitate to go ahead to buy. I bought like 10 pieces of them so that I would just have them, in the warehouse, because this is one of the things when you have a very decent offer like this, if you can capitalize on you buying quantities, sometimes you get, even much better discount from the seller. I did get that, and I went ahead, bought 10 pieces like I said, and just kept it here. One of them was actually used to upgrade this PC. And then buyer also wanted a 1TB SSD. Of course, people that do not ask questions doesn't necessarily mean that they do not know what they want. I did go ahead with one of the best in the market right now, a 1TB NVMe SSD, and then went ahead, set up this PC. Very effortless transaction. Hopefully the transactions of this week are going to be like this. It's thereabout. 16 o'clock right now. I'm going to be leaving to the post office just to make sure that I, drop this packet off. This is not to mean that my job is done for today, but then whatever I have left to do is something I can actually do from the comfort of my home. I've still got items to list. I've got offers to take a look at. I've got some, some research to do. One thing you want to do if you sell online is to continually have an eye, on what your competitors are doing. Your competitors are like a roadmap. You got to keep looking at them, see what they are doing, see what you can actually go ahead and implement in your shop, see what item is selling for them at the moment, and see how you can actually go ahead and look for those items, replicate the listing, and hopefully partake in whatever sale is going on. I'm going to be taking a look at this. Next week is Easter holiday. Perhaps I still can go ahead, take a look at my shop, see the items that can actually be, put on sales, just to see how I can actually, push sales, because the transactions needs to keep coming in. The goal of the channel is to flip PCs until I am able to buy a house. All right, guys, before I left the warehouse now, I received a message I will call a message from a potential buyer, somebody that apparently appears to want to buy my PC. And this guy was writing me to find out if it was possible for him to buy one of the PCs without a DVD drive. And this is kind of, for me, this is a no-brainer, and just got me thinking, sometimes you never can tell what people actually want in a PC. When I set up these offers, I always want to make sure that these PCs are as complete as it can possibly be. Yes, I understand the DVD driver is not particularly something that people really look forward to before deciding to buy or not to buy a PC. But then somebody's writing me, which I haven't received a message like this for a very long time, all right, asking me, can I actually buy this PC without the DVD drive? But if you know where the DVD drive stays, there's always this, if the PC doesn't have a DVD drive, ideally it should come with a plastic cover, which is like, we call it the front blend, for the DVD, drive, all right? And the potential buyer is asking if I do have this blend, which I do have. Luckily for me, I have a lot of them for this particular Fujitsu PC here, and I went ahead to write him back. Yes, it will be possible. It shouldn't be a problem. And because in his message, he did tell me that he was interested, all right? So before I left the warehouse, I still made sure I replied him. If you reply people in the very minute they send you messages, it's very easy to just kind of conclude the transaction. If the person wants to buy it, he's going to go ahead and buy it. If not, you are also aware that the person doesn't want to buy. And then while I was at the post office, I received the reply again. And now the potential buyer is asking me, is there anything that you can actually do with the price? Yes, this kind of request does come sometimes, but this price is already set up like it is. I do not want to start to go back now and write that, okay, we can do this PC for like 5 or 10 euros less, because the DVD writer in itself, if I were to sell it, first of all, it's going to take a long time to sell. I really haven't checked right now the costs of this slim DVD drive. Perhaps it would be like 24 euros, 29 euros. I'm not so sure, but I'm particularly not interested in, reducing my price just because somebody doesn't want to have, a DVD writer. I would rather go ahead and sell the PC complete and just have, the money paid complete, than removing certain things and then try to sell it again. What that would mean for me is that I will not have to go back and create an offer, a new listing for a DVD drive, and then try to list it. And no, I don't want to do that. So now that he has written me, is there anything I can do with the price? As soon as I get home now, I'm going to reply. Unfortunately, this price is already very good enough. And I don't know, perhaps I can just send you a PC with a DVD drive and also include this plastic blend if it helps him, because then he can go ahead and set the DVD drive by himself and just keep the plastic blend and do whatever he wants to do with the PC. Yes, this kind of request does come. But in between, good news, guys, 2 PCs sold right now for 666 euros. Buyer has paid. This is exactly what I'm talking about. I am flipping PCs until I am able to buy a house. Until I see you again in the next one. Peace.